Great, you sound amazing. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for bearing with us as our guest speaker this morning was running a little bit behind. So we appreciate your flexibility and joining in some joyous singing with us this morning. My name is Mandy Winders, and I'm a member of this congregation. And while Reverend Dunn has been on sabbatical, we've had some great guest speakers. And today we have a return visit from Reverend Duncan Teague, who's the leader of the Abundant Love Unitarian Universalist congregation. Abundant Love was established in 2018 in the West End community of Atlanta. Their congregation is committed to continuing the work of healing communities in both the UU and Black church traditions. Reverend Teague also works at Emory University's Rollins School of Public Health in the Global Health Department, assisting research of faith-based projects doing HIV/AIDS anti-stigma work. He is affiliated community minister for the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Atlanta and has served a term on the UU Ministers Association Committee on Anti-Racism, Anti-Oppression, and Multiculturalism. Reverend Teague has received recognition for his many years of HIV/AIDS and community work by both the Atlanta City Council and the Georgia Senate and House of Representatives. He resides in Decatur, Georgia with his husband, David Thurman, a retired CDC researcher, celebrating 30 years together and 20 years of marriage. On behalf of Reverend Teague, our Director of Religious Exploration, Lexi Brown, Music Director Alex Peach, my fellow worship associates, and our dedicated technical team that is making today's live stream possible, I'd like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North congregation, which we lovingly call UUMAN. UUMAN is a liberal faith community with the mission to nurture our spirit, strive for justice, and transform the world. No matter who you are, whom you love, or where you are in your spiritual journey, all are welcome here. If there's anyone visiting us for the first time and feel comfortable doing so, please rise as you're able and introduce yourself so we can worship together as friends. Do we have any first-time visitors on my left this morning? On my right? Oh! Somehow missed you. Just blended right in. Yay! Well, we're happy to have you with us. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. We have a few announcements this morning. As always, all ages are welcome in service, and there is a fidget shelf in the back corner back there. There's no RE this week or next week. We're going to begin our summer RE programming on June 2nd. We still need a few more t-shirts. These are clean used t-shirts for our first Sunday's activity. So if you have any of those, see Elizabeth Rohan. The kids are going to use them to make something. Today, immediately after the service, we'll have a potluck lunch in Fellowship Hall, followed at noon by our annual congregational meeting here in the sanctuary. In addition to updates from the board, UUMAN members will be voting to elect new board members and saying thank you to outgoing board members Miriam Patanian, who has served as our vice president, president, and past president, and Jennifer Philippi, our treasurer. We'll provide updates on our progress on the past year and our financial status. The candidates for the open board positions are David Krober for vice president and Seth Pratt for treasurer. Next week, we will not be meeting here at UUMAN. We'll be holding our annual end of the church year service at Roswell's Hembry Park Pavilion. If you haven't been there before, the address is 850 Hembry Road. It's about 2 miles from UUMAN heading east on Hembry Road, and the pavilion is located in the back right corner of the park. This year's service will feature poetry readings from UUMAN members, some favorites, and some original compositions, interspersed with time for reflection and performances by our Chalice Choir. There will be no services or second-hour classes at UUMAN, although Social Justice is planning to hold a meeting at the pavilion after the service. We hope you can join us, bring camp chairs, food to picnic afterwards, and enjoy the fellowship of our UUMAN community in the wooded beauty of Hembry Park. From June 2nd until June 23rd, UUMAN will again be hosting the Family Promise families in Discovery Hall. These are families suffering situational or temporary homelessness. Our neighboring congregations, Northbrook Methodist and the Roswell Masid, will once again be supporting us. Northbrook will provide volunteers the second week, and the Masid will handle all meals and evening hosts the third week. Still, we need lots of volunteers to prepare and deliver the meals, serve as evening and overnight hosts, and help with moving in 6 to 2 and moving out, 6-2 and moving out 6/23. Gift cards are welcome and distributed as needed by Family Promise. Please use the sign-up sheet and Mike Chambers' email to volunteer. And now we have a message regarding the playscape, I think from Kyson and Dylan.
Hi, I'm Dylan Callan, Kelly Callan's son, obviously. This is my friend Kyson Philippi. I'm hoping you've received some emails from us this week. For those who have missed them, we wanted to personally invite you to join the children of UMO and Primo School in their Playscape 2024 Envelope Challenge. It's a super fun way for everyone to contribute to the success of this project. And Kyson will tell you a little bit.
Your generosity will help us create a magical space in front of Discovery Hall for all to enjoy for years to come. Your envelope challenge donations will support playscape structures and natural elements such as a live willow dome and giant bird's nest, fun seating and dining features for adults and children to enjoy this gorgeous space together, lush landscaping, playful pathways, and native plants to support biodiversity, and strategically placed storage to keep toys and other playground items tidy.
We invite you to support this youth-led campaign as well as sharing it with family and friends. Kyson and I will be on that front portico after service if you have any questions, and there will also be tours in the playscape, which has already began construction. So thank you in advance for your generosity.
And now let us greet one another in a hand or elbow of friendship.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness.
It all worked out. Best laid plans. Yeah.
I'm Mandy, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I didn't have to do anything. Alex just took over and everybody, you know how union churches are. We're casual and no problem.
Good morning. Let me tell you something. When you realize that the service you're going to just started, you turn on gospel music real loud and you put the pedal to the metal. And you look out for our wonderful constables and you put together your testimony just in case. Wow. Thank you so much. I'm begging for forgiveness. I do not come in that late. Fashionably late, yes, but not that late. And Alex, I love you. Is Alex all right? And I even got the choir this morning. Wow. Okay. We humans are deeply, fundamentally, inescapably rational beings, and sometimes late. Our spirituality, our experiences of the sacred revolves around how we relate to ourselves, to each other, and to the cosmos. One guess as to who that is? It's actually Reverend Peter Morales, from a work that he published in Bringing Gifts, a publication of the Latina Unitarian Universalist Networking Alliance. And now let us light our chalice together with the words printed in your order of service.
We ignite this flame, symbol of our faith, to beckon us into community, warm our hearts with love, and give us a light to follow as we carry our faith into action. And now please stand as you are willing and able and turn in your hardback hymnal to hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. Alex will play through once and then we'll sing it together. Now's the time in our service when we share our joys with each other to magnify them, and the sorrows to divide the weight of their pain. If you are so moved, please feel free to come forward, drop a pebble in the bowl, and express a joy or sorrow that you may have. For those attending via our live stream, if you have a joy or sorrow that you would like to share with us this morning, please type it into the chat.
Hi, my name is Alex Peach, and I am your music director here at church. My pebble is a pebble of joy, and it's for all the voices that I hear on a Sunday morning when I listen to and watch the recording of the service so I can actually sit back and enjoy. I really have taken pride in all of you, in the voices that you provide on Sunday mornings. We are so blessed by you. I am blessed by you because you're singing and you're just raising your voices. And kudos, my friends. Here's to voices and to music and to my choir. Thank you for the greatest season in the absolutely wonderful world that we create. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Martin Podorowski, and our oldest daughter, Emmy, is celebrating her sweet 16th birthday this week. She got to spend last night having a party and a sleepover with some of her close friends. She's not here today because there's a little bit of a morning after effect. So let's all very quietly wish her happy birthday.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Lee, and I'm going to drop 2 pebbles of joy for 2 former members of UUMAN, both struggling with cancer right now, and both doing pretty well. Pat Lampert, who was in the choir for many years, a lot of you know him, has, oh gosh, what kind of cancer? It's a leukemia kind of cancer, but he got a stem cell transplant from his daughter, who was a 50% match, and after a few weeks of, he said it was rough, I'm not sure exactly what that means, the numbers are starting to tick up, which means the transplant is working. And he said ever since that started going, his white cells started going up, then all the other numbers started going up, which is a good thing for him. So fingers crossed, he's got a long way to go, but it's looking promising. And the other pebble is for Naomi Braff, also a former member, and she and Dan Ben David were married and have 2 children who grew up in UUMAN. She has organ cancer. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but she was having a lot of digestive problems, and she is on her 3rd round of chemo, and she said her numbers are going down. In her case, is a really good thing. So she was able to actually get out a little bit and run some errands recently. So she's feeling a lot better after a long stint in the hospital. So keep them in your thoughts.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Rodriguez, and I have a pebble of joy for me and Miguel in the back. It's our anniversary this week, so yay!
Hi, my name is Jennifer Ratcliffe. I am one of the 2 co-chairs of the Social Justice Committee. Carla Capesca's in the back over there, sitting with my husband, as the chair. I just wanted to let you know that this weekend we are concluding a workshop, a webinar that UUMAN so gracefully financed for us to attend. It's been 6 months of training, and we're very excited that it's nearly over, but we're also excited that we're going to be putting it to work among us.
I'm Dewana, member of this parish, and Thomas Friedman wrote a book called Thank You for Being Late, and so I am grateful that Reverend Teague was late because the thing that you thought was the sing-along was actually your choir auditions, and you've all made it. We practice on Wednesdays.
I'll drop one final pebble for the joys and sorrows that are still too tender to share this morning, and let us keep one another in our thoughts in the week ahead.
Again, thank you for having me back. It seems like more than a month. Is that true for anybody else? The two pebbles I dropped in, one was if you'll join me in celebrating Reverend Russell Teague, who is retired. My father turned 90 while I was away. And I obviously didn't make the sound check. Am I doing all right, team? God bless you, technical folks. If it were left up to me, it'd be a string and tin cans. Thank you for what you do in your ministry digitally. I think they're like wizards. You don't have to understand it, but you know, it happens. And welcome to the folks who are with us at home and wherever you're coming in from. I actually can blame y'all for what I'm preaching on this morning. I went to your second hour last time I was with you, and it was a good second hour. And in the midst of it, somebody said that they had discovered during the shutdown that some of their neighbors were not who they thought they were, not regarding the epidemic or the pandemic. And this was kind of disheartening and saddening. And I thought, oh my goodness, that'll preach. Do y'all do that as musicians? You hear something, you go, there's gotta be some music about that. Absolutely, okay. So be careful what you say around us. Because I thought, wait a minute, I learned a lot of things, some that I didn't want to learn during the shutdown. And I think we're in a post-shutdown world, that was long enough to shift our culture and our thinking, and that we're different now. I'll talk about how different later, but it is amazing what 2.5, for some of us 3 years, for some of us no shutdown. Yeah, there were places in the world that could not shut down, folks who never got the break that some of us got. Some garages didn't get cleaned out. Remember in that first time when we were going to clean out the garage finally? Because it's going to end in a month, right? Or maybe 2 months, and so we'll clean out the shed too. And lo and behold, we had time to clean the whole house and more. So I'm taking a risk with this sermon, but I'm hoping that your forgiveness will extend even into this topic. This morning, we're gratefully looking over our shoulders at that shutdown and wondering what we learned in response to it, to the pandemic of COVID-19 and its variants. It mutated, and it spread around the world like viruses do, and we saw it coming. And we were forced in America to take drastic measures. because we refused as a culture to take precautionary measures. Well, Duncan, what are you saying? Well, we had a national leader who ignored the science. How do you know that, Duncan? Because my chosen daughter, Crystal, works in Washington, D.C. In December, before the shutdown in March, she was on a conference call with the agency that works with medical schools, discussing what the ramifications would be for medical schools and hospitals when COVID arrived. In December, y'all. She is an administrative assistant to an agency that works with medical schools. If Crystal knew, guess who else knew? Well, I'll say the information was handed to him. Now, whether he read it or not is another thing. Whether he could read it or not. Whether he cared to read, that's a whole nother thing. But we know he didn't act on the information. And so in my head, all these trials, I hope one of them works. But the real trial is murder by neglect for every death we had from December till the shutdown. Malfeasance. If you don't do something when you know people are dying and you could have, that makes you liable. And so we had a society resistant not just to the virus, but resistant to having common sense about the inconvenience of their perceived privilege. And it was perceived. Because if I had the flu and I walk around hugging and kissing on y'all, it doesn't matter what station you are in life, I will pass the flu around. If we put 4 people in this choir with the flu, guess what will happen to the first 2 rows after 2 songs? We have the proof, y'all. The poor church in Albany that had a funeral lost like 12 members. And they can map it based on who got sick when. So this morning, and forgive me if I sound like I'm picking on one particular group, I am not. Because it turns out that ignorance is an equal opportunity thing in America. So when I went to the barber shop in the West End, and not many people look like y'all. Sister, I'm not talking about you. I went to the barber shop where they cut hair like mine. Gray, no. And the head barber had the mask. We were closer than y'all are seated in the barber chairs with the barber right over me. Nobody has a mask on. And I had to take mine off to get my hair cut and my beard trimmed, because there is beauty. Anyway. The men in the barbershop, all African American, all ages, nobody had a mask on. Guess when they asked for a mask? When they were headed outside. And I thought, you don't need a mask to go outside. You need a mask for the barber who is standing over you, and he should have a mask on because he's going to take 10 clients that day, if not 15. So they got the point about the mask. They didn't get the stuff about the infectious diseases. And so it didn't matter what culture you were from. The other thing I noticed in the West End, hold my hand, sister. Okay. I'm going to get gas. Several cars pull up. My sister and her children have on masks. Thank you. Guess who doesn't? Him. Because his masculinity will protect him from the virus. I didn't know testosterone was that strong. It's dangerous, but I didn't know it was that strong. So she's protected, the children are protected, he's not, and he's going to go home and kiss her, we hope. Really? So I learned a whole lot of things. My Lord. Some of us may be asking in this scenario, well, Duncan, who is our neighbor? An old question. And it plagued a first century prophet, wise man, a guy in the Middle East. Because he had told them that he could take all the law and wrap it up into two phrases. Love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. Now the premise is that you love yourself. If you don't already love yourself, call the therapist today. It's implicit that you already love yourself. But that's what he told the wise guys who were trying to catch him up. And then they said, well, who is your neighbor? And then he gave them this story. How many of y'all grew up in the Baptist church like I did? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, not that many of y'all. Y'all don't let ex-Baptists in here anymore? Okay. Anyway, what this guy did in the Middle East about 2,000 years ago was he gave them the story of the Good Samaritan. Because it turned out that there was a guy who went along the wrong road. Not one of these good suburban roads. The road to Jericho. It was notorious. Not a good road to go on, and especially not by yourself. Well, this guy fell among thieves who robbed him, stole everything he had, beat him up. Not just a little bit, but like he was almost dead. And then one of those highfalutin guys with a stole and robes came by and passed by on the other side. Because he had listened to the rumors about folks in that part of town. And he knew the road was dangerous, and he was like, I don't think we're going to get involved in this. A couple of other guys came by, you know, kind of highfalutin, educated, probably like Unitarian. Shut up, Duncan. Educated, revered, and he didn't stop either. In this story, the guy who came from the wrong part of town but had a good job, he had a good job because he had a beast of burden helping him through. We would say he had a truck, a 4x4, or even a bigger truck. But he had something to carry his stuff. He's headed to Jericho or back from Jericho. He sees a guy, and he's got like a genetic disposition that folks kind of look down on. He comes from the wrong people. But he stopped. He stopped, picked the guy up. Not only picked the guy up, but took him to the next town, dropped him where he could get health care, told the person at the place, well, I'll tell you what, Here's my visa. Because the American Express charges too much. Here's my Visa card number. Do whatever it takes to help this man get on his feet. And when I come back, if there's anything else I owe you, I'll take care of it. And then this wise prophet turned to the folks who were concerned about tripping him up and said, who in this story was the real neighbor? Uh-oh. Notice what's not in the story. I love this story. It doesn't involve any, fantastic miracles. Just a middle-class guy and a whole lot about culture. Just a guy who fell among thieves. Just trying to do what's right. Now, also pay attention to this story, because some of us as liberals get tripped up in this one. The guy did not stop and give money to everybody who was begging along the Jericho Road. Huh? He gave it to the guy who was about to die, who had fallen and didn't have another option. Why did I say that? Because I used to feel guilty about not giving to the guy who worked Georgia State University by working, and he was at the MARTA station at 7:30 in the morning, and then he moved over to where we went for lunch in the afternoon to beg. And I was brought up Christian and Baptist and good and sanctified and holy and good looking, and I thought, I have to give to him because of the Good Samaritan. And then it hit me, Duncan, that is not what the Good Samaritan did. That guy was working Georgia State University. He was there before I could get to work. He moved to the other part of town. He was working. And I thought, well, if you can go to work, I can go to work. You make yours, I'll make mine. Have a wonderful day. Doesn't mean I don't give when I think I should. But if you can work Georgia State University, guess what? So could I. And I did. And I got benefits. Nowhere in the Good Samaritan does it say to be stupid. Some of us feel weird because of what we found out about our neighbors. Some of our neighbors fell among thieves who took the truth from them, who gave them misinformation, who let them die rather than wear a mask. Some of our neighbors were misled by folks in pulpits just like this, who said, I dare you to wear a mask in here. Did you see the videos? I wanted to sue every last one of those ministers. How dare you? Yeah, you have a right to believe whatever you want. I do not have a right to put your life in danger as a minister. Some of our neighbors fell among thieves who took common sense public health information from them or told them not to pay attention. And we have to love them anyway. I didn't say have lunch with them. I said love them. And if they end up in a predicament, if mama dies, if one of the kids gets sick or lost, or if the house burns or something happens, we still have to be a good neighbor to them. And that's in our principles. We don't even all agree. Uh-oh, Duncan, you're meddling. I also want to say that for some of us, Alex, you can say amen already. For some of us, this wasn't our first rodeo with a pandemic. For some of us, we had lived through a pandemic, by the way, that helped save you in the second or third one. What are you talking about, Duncan? I'm talking about HIV and AIDS when people were not clamoring for attention to help. When even Emory University, which is now one of the leading vaccine and immunological research centers, wouldn't want HIV patients in their clinics because they were afraid of what it would do to their other clients, their other medical patients. Don't tell them I said that. They made shifts, didn't they? The reason you got a vaccine for COVID within less than 2 years, first of all, the scientists stopped playing competition. They started playing cooperation. Secondly, they had all those years of immunological and virological information from HIV that without we wouldn't have had it. So when we were letting gay men die, IV drug users die, folks whose sexuality was like that poor guy who fell among thieves in the wrong part of town, when what we learned from those folks, who that president let die, by the way, that saved us in this next pandemic. That's one of the things I learned. I could say it the nice way. I am in therapy. Dave Niman says that we taught the world how to take care of people with HIV because we had to. Y'all could say amen. I'm not going to preach all 20 pages because I was late. One of the things that happened in the pandemic that I learned, and this is from some groups I'm in with predominantly straight white men, how about that? Was that we were at home long enough to have a cultural shift. What are you talking about, Duncan? We have an economic system based on, and this is me just repeating what I've heard. The economic system here is based on him going to work for the company when he is young. Nowadays, he gets to move to a different company as soon as he can to get a raise or promotion. But the whole economic system is based on him sacrificing his relationships at home to go get the money to take care of the little woman. Oh, I sound like that guy at Benedictine, don't I? Guess where my college degree is from? Yes, I know, ain't it horrible? Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas, on the bluffs of the Missouri River. It is such a beautiful campus. And now I have to put a note in my alumni giving. Somebody said, don't give them any more money, Duncan. I am, but it's going to be directed at the counseling center. That's what our whole economic system is based on. Now, of course, this is outdated, because if you try to buy a home in Roswell, she gonna have to go to work. How many working moms do we have here? If you want to send your kids to that private school, she's gonna have to do something. But see, we let the guys stay at home for almost 2 years. We sent him home with a laptop. And the kids were waiting on him when he got home. Uh-oh. We had to turn the garage into an office. She had to go home from the office. Uh-oh. For 2 years. We had to figure out, who are we really married to? Who are these little people that we call our children? And how do they really act after we drop them off at school? Amen? For 2 years, his identity was not wrapped up in the guys at work. She had to figure out how she was going to do this and keep the the little children happy. It shifted things. 2 years is long enough for you to realize what kind of relationship you're in, to realize what you might need other than a paycheck and a promotion. It changes how you say, hello, I am. It changes what questions you ask the neighbors who were going for walks, because that's all we could do. I'm not bitter. It also changed for me my identity, because I'm an extrovert, if you hadn't noticed. Just a little bit. And the people who had helped me know who I am, not my family, they did their job. Oh, God, did they? Not the people I went to school with at Benedictine, but the woman who had been dropping our omelet on the table exactly the way we liked it for 20 years. The people who had brought us our drink and knew exactly what we wanted. The folks at the post office. Oh, I loved them, because you still had to go to the post office. Or at least that's what I told my husband. Anyway, I had to get out of that house, y'all. I had to go see somebody. The people who tell us who we are, the folks who help us identify. And I'm looking at these tall teenage boys. All the teenagers at UUMAN are that tall? Thank you for your announcement. I looked at a teenage boy run out of his house and get in the car, and I thought, oh my God, what have we done? Because it is a teenager's job to separate from you. It is your job to grab him by the collar and say, not so fast. But they're entering into adulthood or something like it. And it is their job to go out in the world and figure out who they are now, because they're not little kids. And for 2 years, we had to say, no, I'm so sorry. No, that's not going to work. And I admire Keisha Lance Bottoms for putting that out into the world and saying, it's in your house and it's in mine. And my 17-year-old is within this close of losing his life. Because he needed something to help him build his identity. And for 2 years, he didn't have it. And for little children, there's such a big difference between being 2 and 4, and you haven't been able to go be with your friends. Thank God for our creativity. The public health officials were good, but they weren't perfect. And my husband's in public health, and he took a lot of stuff from me because I was so sick of being in that house. Anyway, I was so sick of being in that house, for those of you on Zoom who couldn't hear me grumble. And I told my husband, I said, when are y'all going to partner with a psychologist and figure out how we can be safe and sane? We learned so much. Boy, that took up a few pages. What also happened to me was very sad. A young, not that young, well, I'm young, so he's young, right, Alex? Thank you. We got into a discussion at a dinner, and he's smart, rather attractive, a spiritual guy. And then he started giving me all this conspiracy theory stuff. And I'm like, I wanted to say, could you not do that over my ham? I'm sorry, vegans. I love y'all, but I haven't had that revelation yet. Anyway, we got into it. And the reason we got into it was because while he was talking, I'm dedicating this sermon to somebody y'all would have loved. Joey Traynor. Did anybody know Joey? He was very active in all sorts of social change work all over Georgia, Florida. Joey's gorgeous. Part Central American, big, a UU. He grew up in our church in Augusta, and that's where I did his memorial service. Joey was 33 years old. And at 33 is when you some of us, start deciding what we didn't do in our 20s or needed to do. I see my friend in the back who's moving away. Thank you for coming. Sometimes it's a little later, huh? Hallelujah. But in your 30s, you start trying to come up with the real answers. And he and a former girlfriend were coming up with the real answer. She was gorgeous. And I was trying to talk him out of leaving, but I had never seen her picture. When I saw her picture, I stopped talking. I thought, there's no way he's not going to California. Joey preached for me in February and then went to Florida to do some work early in the pandemic. It was too early for Joey. We didn't have a vaccine yet. And he got COVID while he was in Florida. But he's 33, big guy, nice guy, good guy. And he recovered. He came home to Augusta, took care of his son. His son, by the way, who when he was in Atlanta, he wouldn't go to brunch with us because he had to get back to Augusta to be a good dad to his son. Oh, God, I love you, Joey. Well, that woman, that gorgeous woman, I'm just serious, y'all, she looks like a movie star, and her daughter were enough to make Joey move to Los Angeles and try to make it work again. And it worked. And they were planning on getting married. Right, at the right time, you know, they're both parents, they both know what they're doing, they got it going on. The wedding was gonna be fabulous, you know. And she dropped him off in the hospital at the end of December. By then we had a vaccine, but we would only give it to folks who were over 60. So when he got to LA, he caught COVID again. Okay, so y'all know that that was a variant, and he didn't have immunity to it. And it was too much. And Joey's mom had to fly to LA so she could say goodbye to Joey. And had to fight her way into the hospital as his mom to say goodbye. So while my friend was giving me this misinformation, I'm like, I was about to drop all this ministry and let him have it. Because he's talking about Joey. So you can have your misinformation, but you have to give me Joey back. And better than he was before. And Joey was going into our ministry hall. I know he was. I ain't the only one who thinks that either. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot. In some profound way, while being out and learning about our neighbors, some who we had never met, never spoken to, we found ourselves in closer community. Maybe scary closer community. And I regret that for many, what you thought were close communities ideology-wise, that's not correct. I went to Emory, I can say that's correct. Ideologically, there we go. I paid for that education. We found out that some of our neighbors had fallen among thieves. And I think we got an A on survival, because we also found out that those cameras made us able to be together, able to share, able to do things that we didn't think we could do unless we came to the building together. And thank you this morning if that's how you came to be with us. We found out that love will transmit over Zoom. Not music, oh my God, but love. So I think we got an A on an exam about survival. And I think we mostly did well in our love for our neighbors. And I hope that when the next virus happens, we're even better able to be good neighbors. Amen, and thank you so much for not getting up and walking out.
Duncan, thank you. Thank you. We are called to be safe havens for everyone. Let me say that again. We are called to be safe havens for everyone. The next piece is called Would You Harbor Me? It's by Isay Barnwell. And I hope you go away thinking about today.
Would you harbor me
In an effort to fulfill and further the vision and mission of this congregation, we ask that our members and friends share of their time, treasure, and talents. With this, we will now take the offering. You may also give using the Givelify app. A reminder that this month's 50/50 recipient is the Mountain Retreat and Learning Center. Any checks or Givelify donations specifically designated as 50/50 during the month of May will go to support the work of the mountain. We accept this offering generously given by our members and friends for the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love and compassion in our lives, in our community, and in the wider world. Please turn in your softback teal hymnal to hymn number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness, as we rise and embody your spirit. Alex will play through once and then we'll sing together.
We're going to move right to the we. May we be filled with loving kindness.
And now let us extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Again, thank you for having me back. Our closing words are from Rainier Maria Rilke. Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. This is from Letters to a Young Poet, letter number 4, dated July 16th, 1903. Thank you so much.